Good morning, welcome back to my channel. My name is Irene and I'm a registered dietitian, and today I'm only eating from fast food chains for a day. So for breakfast we are starting off with some Starbucks because who doesn't love the combination of coffee and breakfast? So I ordered a blonde vanilla latte as well as the spinach and feta wrap, both of which are my favorites and I think also on the more healthy side. I will be including kind of the nutrient breakdowns that are available on the website for these items. I don't usually track my calories though, or really care too much about like the specific macro breakdown, but for the purposes of trying to choose a little bit more healthy items from fast food chains, I thought that that would be something just interesting to look at and kind of compare with the dietary guidelines. So for my coffee at Starbucks, I do generally make some modifications to it. I get half of the pumps of syrup just because I feel like on its own, like the regular original is always way too sweet for me, and then B, it's a great way to cut down on some added sugars. And so I got 2 pumps of the vanilla in here, and I think that that is plenty sweet for me. I do like my coffee on the sweeter side, but I don't need it to be like super sweet. And for the breakfast item here, I do feel like this is like fairly healthy. It's also vegetarian friendly, it's high in protein, and so this is a really good option. I think maybe the only thing that it's kind of lacking is some dietary fiber, and also it's a little bit high on the sodium side, probably from the feta cheese though. And if you are a meat eater like Steven is, an option that you can get is the turkey bacon sandwich. So this one is, I feel like, on the healthier side. It's also lower in like saturated fats, it's high in protein. Oh, this one tastes a lot more burnt than the one at the hospital. I wonder if they didn't use the blonde espresso because it's also a lot darker, but usually it's pretty good. I think it's stuck to the bottom. Okay, maybe I should go to a different Starbucks. This one looks a little sad than it normally does. Honestly, a great savory breakfast. You got carbs, protein, fat, cheese, eggs. I love it.
I have an online order for Irene.
Okay, second one, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Sorry about you. Have a good day. Thank you.
Lunch is here. So I went and got some Taco Bell for lunch today. So on our menu, for me, we have some pinto beans with cheese, black bean chalupa. Let me just double check. Yes, black bean chalupa supreme. And for Steven, I got him the Cantina chicken bowl. I think this is like kind of new-ish. And also, you can't go to Taco Bell without getting tacos. So I also got 2 of the crunchy tacos for him. That is going to be our lunch. One thing that I actually really like about Taco Bell is they have like a vegetarian menu. And so I was able to pick up a couple things from there. And then obviously they have like different meat options, beef and chicken, and so that's really nice. One thing that I was like kind of surprised to find, but totally makes sense, is Taco Bell does a pretty good job with like getting in dietary fiber. So the beans especially help for the vegetarian side of things. Beans are a great source of protein and fiber, and so I'm sure that that's really helping to boost up the fiber content of my meals. Also, obviously like Steven's as well. But I feel like I've not really like a Taco Bell person. I've maybe only had Taco Bell like once ever before in my life, but this may change my opinions on Taco Bell in terms of like fast food options. I do feel like comparatively, compared to some of the other options out there, this might be one of the ones that I like a little bit more. Okay, first up, the chalupa. This is actually really good. I don't actually know what a chalupa is, but I just looked it up and it is apparently a fried corn tortilla. This doesn't look like a corn tortilla to me. This tastes and looks like flour, but it is fried. I'm sure that Taco Bell has Americanified like Mexican food or like traditional Mexican food, so I'm not surprised. But this is delightful. I actually really like this as a vegetarian fast food option because I feel like most of the time if you go to McDonald's or like whatever, it's like a salad without the chicken. So it's really just lettuce and dressing. And so I love that there are so many vegetarian options here. Okay, let's try the beans and cheese now. I don't have like super high hopes for this because it's just like beans and cheese and it's probably just like meh. I did need some extra like protein because beans can only really get you so far, especially like in conjunction with like other things, and so I needed some extra protein to add to this meal, and really the only options I have are more beans, and so this is what I picked. The cheese is quite melty. I mean, it's just beans. I do like that they added some extra sauce. I don't know what it is exactly, but it reminds me of like kind of enchilada sauce. Tastes good. I think it's pretty decent as a side. A great source of extra protein. This is lunch. For our last meal of the day or dinner, we have some Schlotskys. So sandwiches for some variety. I got the fresh veggie sandwich in the medium size. So it comes on some sourdough bread and then just really veggies, cheese, and like mayo. And yeah, that's pretty much it. There's not a ton of like great vegetarian options at a lot of like sandwich and burger places. So this is usually what I have to get, but it is reasonably healthy. It's got some veggies in it. It's all right. You know, it's not the best option in the world, but it's also not the worst. For Steven, I got, this is huge. This is the turkey avocado sandwich in the giant size. I didn't realize that it would actually be this big. I think it is quite literally like twice the size of the medium. It's relatively low calorie for the size. I feel like it's about 1,000 calories. At least that's what it says on their website, which for something like this big, I would have expected it to be a lot more. It does have a lot of sodium in it though. And in fact, all of the sandwiches really have a lot of sodium in it. So that was just not something that you're going to get away from, especially if you are getting like deli meats. They just tend to have a lot of sodium in it. I'm going to give this a try. I've actually also never tried Schlotsky's except for maybe like once on like a field trip or something. I mean, it's a sandwich, all right. Does it taste better than like a Subway or like a Quiznos? Not really, I don't think. The bread does seem to be a little bit nicer. I feel like it's okay. So I will finish eating this and then I will give some of my final thoughts on eating fast food for a day today. All right, so let's debrief a little bit. So I added up the totals of everything that me and Steven ate today, and I'll throw them up on the screen. So clearly eating from fast food chains for a day is not healthy, but there are some options that are healthier than others, and I feel like I tried my best to pick these options and show which foods are maybe a little bit better than others on the respective fast food chains' menus. Obviously, some fast food chains are a little bit more healthier than others as well, but I tried to pick the healthier ones out of whatever options I had available. As a dietitian, I feel like the hardest things for me to kind of maneuver were limiting sodium and making sure that we're getting enough fiber in there. So as you can see by the totals, I definitely did not meet the dietary guidelines for Americans eating fast food today. So I went way over the sodium and also did not get enough fiber, and I think that it's just how fast food typically is. Not a lot of veggies, and there's typically just a lot of sodium in it. Controlling saturated fat can be a little bit difficult as well, but I feel like I wasn't as far off with the saturated fat as I was with the sodium and the fiber. And I feel like with the saturated fats, I feel like a lot of places are opting for like the lower fat or fat-free like mayos and things like that really help to control the saturated fat content. But the sodium and the dietary fiber, man, that was so difficult. Something that I found a little bit surprising was that Schlotsky's had a lot of sodium. It was way higher than Taco Bell or like Starbucks or whatever, and despite sandwiches having like a perception of being healthier, I feel like they weren't necessarily, simply because of the sodium content. And I think that it's mostly because there's just a lot of deli meat in the sandwiches. And deli meat is pretty high in sodium, so that's probably why the sandwiches are so high in sodium. I think that almost all the sandwiches on the Schlotsky's menu like meet or exceed the daily recommended amount of sodium in a single like medium-sized sandwich. So that is pretty crazy. On the other hand, if you did choose something like pizza or like one of the flatbreads, the sodium was a little bit more under control. Obviously, still being a fast food chain, it still had quite a bit of sodium in it. The problem with choosing like a pizza or flatbread is most of them really don't have veggies on them, so you're not going to be getting in that dietary fiber, and that was already a huge concern today, was not being able to get any fiber in because there's like really no vegetables anywhere. So that was a huge thing. Obviously, you could get a salad. There are usually salad options at every fast food chain, but let's be honest, who really wants to eat a salad? Because not me. I do not ever want to eat a salad at a fast food chain, and I doubt that you do either. It's not to say that salads are bad or anything. I just think that at fast food chains, they're not like a realistic option, you know? I think that if you were to get a salad from like a salad shop, or if you were to make one at home, you could add a lot of things to really bulk it up, make it more filling. Like you can add lots of different types of vegetables. You can also add different healthy fats and proteins and really like bulk it up that way. But I feel like fast food chains do not do that with their salads, and that's kind of unfortunate. So it's not really like, I feel like personally the best option, because you're gonna want to eat something else in addition to that that's still gonna be high in sodium and really not very healthy. I guess you could argue that you can eat a salad in addition to something else just to get your dietary fiber in. I think that might be something that you could consider, but typically the salads and like salad dressings especially are also going to contain quite a bit of sodium as well. So that's something else that you have to factor in if you're getting like multiple items. In this little experiment that we did today, honestly, I was kind of surprised at how well Taco Bell did. It's not to say that Taco Bell is healthy, but I feel like in terms of looking at the nutrition facts like on paper, they did pretty well overall. Like they weren't super high in sodium. Obviously, they're not low in sodium either, but they had good amounts of protein, they had good amounts of dietary fiber, and they had a lot of vegetarian options, which I really appreciated. Not to mention that Taco Bell is actually reasonably affordable too compared to some of the other options. I feel like fast food chains used to be like super cheap, and now a lot of them have risen in price. Like for example, Steven's giant sandwich was $15, and I feel like for fast food that's very expensive. Obviously you did get a pretty big portion, but still it was just a lot more than kind of what I remember fast food being. But anyways, that kind of concludes this experiment that we did today and this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, please be sure to give it a like and subscribe, and let me know if you'd like to see other videos like this in the future, and I will see you next time. Bye.